is we're going to start a series of sessions where I will be discussing some questions that are like mostly mandatory in the O-level past papers. That is frequency distribution, or to in simple terms, mean, modal, range, and things like that. So I have taken a couple of papers to show that as well, how this question comes every year. So I'm going to prepare you for this type of questions in this video. So if you look at the 2023 O-level, here we go. Question number 6, it is about finding the mean. And if you take the 2018 paper, question number 6, finding the mean. 2015 paper also has the same question where we are talking about finding the mean there. So if you look at these three questions in this video, I'm going to show you step by step, this 26th lesson, this is in grade 10 textbook. So I'm going to show you step by step how to find the mean. There are two ways that we can apply. One is using the FX method and the other one is using the deviation method, or we call the FD method, right? So basically mean is something that you've been learning from your smaller classes, that is with regards to average. So if I tell the word average, you definitely know what's average, right? What is average? You add the total, take the sum of it and divide by the number. For example, in your report cards, it's a definite thing that you have the term average, best pupil average, the class average and things like that, and your own average as well. So to find that, what do? We add all the subjects' marks and then divide by the number of subjects, right? So that is basically average, and mean is also something similar to that. So when you're finding mean, what do? We add everything and divide. So I would say, when we are doing questions, I will show you exactly how, or when we need to use the FX method and when we need to use the FD method. So before we move on to FX or FD, we need to know how to find the mid value of a class interval. So you know what's a class interval, right? Here we have 11 to 20, 21 to 30. So we need to find the mid value, and what exactly is this frequency? Now, for example, here they've spoken about the marks obtained by several grade 10 students of a certain school has been grouped and tabulated as follows. So 11 to 20, one person. Now, frequency is to show that one person has got the marks between 11 to 20. And 7 people have got between 21 to 30. And if I talk about this one, 2 people have got from 91 to 100. That's what this frequency means, right? So we don't know exactly whether they got 95 or 99 or 91 or what was their marks itself. But we do know that it is in between 91 to 100. So finding the mid value is basically you add the two class intervals. So in this case, you are going to add 20 plus 11, right? So when you add 20 plus 11, you would get the answer there, 31. And now 31 needs to be divided by 2. So when I divide 31 by 2, I get the answer 15.5. So that's how we get this mid value column. There'll be a pattern that will follow as well. So for example, if you look at this one, 30 plus 21 would give you the answer of 51. 51 divided by 2, right, would give you the answer 25.5. So if you look, the next one would be 35.5, 45.5, 55.5, 65.5, 75.5. So it's up to you to figure out what is the format or what is the pattern that is there in this particular column. It's pretty easy. Once you find about 2 or 3, you would figure out, okay, there is a pattern. It's an increment of 5. It's an increment of 10. So that is also a tip that you can apply to recheck your answer. So in this question, if you're actually going wrong anywhere, only thing mostly could be careless mistakes in adding or multiplying or dividing. That's the way, because if you answer one part of this question, the main question, finding the mean, you would obtain at least 6 to 7 marks there, right? So it's a pretty simple question where you can get your full marks there to target for that A that you want, right? So moving on to a few more questions, the FX method itself. In this video, we will look into how to find the mean using the FX method. So what is this X and what is this F over there, right? So when we did speak about the mid value, right? So basically this mid value is labeled as X here. So when you label mid value as X, frequency as F, obviously Fx is the total or multiplying the frequency by the mid value. So the first step in this one, the following group frequency distribution gives the marks that 40 students received out of 21 on a mathematics test. So they have the class interval, they have the frequency. So we found the mid value. So 4 to 8, 4 add 8, that would give me 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 8 plus 12 is once again 20. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 12 plus 16 would give me 28. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So if you look at this part as well, like, you have 6, 10, 14, 18, and 22. And now we find fx, that is multiplying the frequency by the mid value. So 6 times 3 gives me 18, 10 times 7 gives me 70. 14 multiplied by 15 gives me 210, and 18 multiplied by 11 gives me 198. So you get that multiplication right there. And then in the next part, what do? You get the total of the fx column, right? So this is sigma, or sum of fx, the total of the column fx. So when I add them together, be very, very careful when adding this. I mean, I do understand that these numbers are written here and there. If you look at this, we do know that we add the ones first, then the tens, then the hundreds. So it's important while you're writing the numbers as well, you write them, align them properly, so that when you're adding, you don't have to rewrite it separately and add again. Rather, you would be following, like, you would do the addition in that section itself and you're done there, right? So make sure that you align the numbers properly and make it easy for yourself. So you get the fx columns total, that's 584. And in the next part, you have the frequency. Most of the time, the frequency is given here as well, the sum of the frequency. That is, there were 40 students, so obviously the frequency total should be 40. Now, this is another way to recheck. Sometimes they might not, give you as a class interval. They might tell you to group them and then do the question. So if they do tell you that, if you can check if you've gone wrong anywhere by checking the sum and the question that they've given. If your sum does not, you've got 41 here, and they're saying that there are only 40 students, which means you know that one of your frequency is incorrect, and you need to correct that there, right? So that is what is rechecking. That's how you recheck a question. So moving on, this is quite simple. You get the mean value. What do? You have added the fx, you have the frequency, you just divide the two. So you divide 584 by 40, and you got the answer 14.6. Sometimes they might tell you to give the closest whole value, give the closest mean. At that time, you can round the numbers there. So if I have to round 14.6, I would round it to the closest number, which is 14.6. 6 is bigger than 5. So 5 or larger, you have to round up. So this would go as 15. So it's up to you to decide what you need to do depending on the question. But do make sure you read the question carefully there. So that's about finding the mean. So if you get this table right, this total right, this answer right, and if they've asked you to round and you rounded it right, you would definitely get that 6 marks that they have it there, right? So this is about the fx method itself. So moving on, in the next video, I will show you how to do the FD method, or the frequency when it comes to the assumed mean method. In other words, the deviation one. Right? So in the next video, we will be catching up, or we will be doing that section. So stay tuned and wait for the next video. Thank you very much for joining in. Then have a nice day. Bye.